the literalness of your computer mind makes negative words or phrases something to be avoided, if at all possible. We are always better off being as positive as we can when making any statements or commands to our subconscious mind. Therefore, you should avoid using such negative words and phrases as no, not, never, don't, get rid of, etc. Example of negative affirmative statement: I choose to get rid of my headache. Example of a positive affirmative statement: I choose to feel calm and relaxed. It is common for people to make negative choices without realizing it. Therefore, when making your affirmative statement, be sure to check if it has any of the negative words listed above. It can mean the difference between success and failure in the final outcome of what you are choosing to create. 7. Your affirmation must be personal. Your affirmation must be personal. We can only affirm for ourselves. We can't affirm for somebody else. It is impossible to get results by affirming qualities or changes in other people, or to correct or alter situations we cannot control. I cannot affirm for my employees, but I can affirm a change in me that will produce a change in them. If you, your team, group, family or staff is involved in a joint or collective goal, you can start your affirmations with we instead of I. In this case, I would suggest affirming the goal of your group as well as your individual part of the collective goal. Both would be important to your success. But we have to keep in mind that we can't make an affirmation for another person. We can change our behavior, and in doing so promote a positive response in our mates, clients, family, and the people we are leading, or the people around us. I am sure you understand by now that all change must come from the inside out. Life is an inside-out experience. This may seem self-centered, but we can't give something we don't already have. I can't change you, but I can change the way I respond to you. Through my inspiration, you may be motivated to improve, but my change must be personal inside of me, not in you. Frequently people will make affirmative statements that will choose to have others behave differently. This implies that we have the right to influence how others should behave towards us. For instance, they want another person, or people, to act differently than they are toward them, as in, I choose to have Chris love me. I choose to have my clients think I'm the best at what I do. I choose to have Tom understand me, etc. Or, they want to bring revenge, or have another person experience a negative result, such as, I choose to have Jim suffer the consequences for what he has done to me, or someone else. The reverse is they want something good or healing for another person, such as, I choose to have John heal quickly from his illness. On the surface, the last affirmation may seem positive. While it is not wrong to affirm a positive outcome for another, there can be problems. If you approach this from a higher perspective, you have to consider that it may not be a good idea to interfere in the manner in which a person's life is unfolding. The life may be unfolding according to a higher plan that we may not be aware of, or cannot even imagine. Whether or not you agree with this, it is something that you may want to consider. The truth is that we do not have access to what is really happening in an individual's unfoldment. Therefore we have no business affirming exactly how it should unfold, even if we think it is a positive outcome. Also, it negates the whole purpose of making our affirmative statement, which is that it gives us the power to create what we want in our own lives. If you feel you want to affirm a positive outcome for another, do it in a way that you do not assume that you know what is best for them. All you have to do is add this phrase at the end of your affirmative statement. If this is in the person's name, highest interest. Using this option, the affirmation for John, described above as being ill, might be, I choose to have John heal quickly from his illness, if this is in his highest interest. This would ensure that you are not trying to decide what is truly best for someone else, but at the same time you are expressing your desire that they get well. The point here is to make your affirmative statements as helpful as possible without imposing your own values. Having said that, there are ways that we can affirm for others that do not interfere with what is best for them. For example, the first affirmation given above might be changed to read, I choose to feel that Chris really loves me. Here you are making a choice about your own reaction to Chris. This is something that you have control over, and does not involve wanting someone else to change in order for you to be happy. Here's another example. I choose to have my supervisor appreciate me. The above is not an acceptable affirmative statement, because it involves your supervisor making the change in his or her behavior. In other words, you have no right to choose a new behavior for your supervisor. You can, however, reframe this statement to say, I choose to feel that my supervisor appreciates me. This is something that you have control over. It also causes you to look for positive ways that your supervisor may already appreciate you, that you have not noticed before. This will allow you to focus on that aspect. Remember, whatever we focus on we create more of. Here are some examples where a person chooses harm to another or seeks some sort of revenge for an assumed act of aggression or injustice. I choose to have John pay the price, or be punished in some way for what he has done to me. Or, I choose to have John brought to justice for what he did. While you may want this, you have no right to affirm it. Also, it only causes you to focus on the hurt or injustice. Instead, you can reframe it so that it helps you to overcome or get past what has happened. The only way you can do this is through your perception of the event. A much more powerful and useful affirmative choice would be, I choose to accept that this injustice or hurtful experience can no longer hurt me. Or, I choose to be free of the consequences of this hurtful experience. When you make these choices you free yourself from the compulsion to seek revenge. If you think about it, the real reason we seek revenge is so that we can let go and recreate, or restore balance in our life. If we can restore it by choosing to let go, then the balance is automatically restored. Also, that eliminates the need for revenge, or to focus on the outcome of their life. The bottom line is we cannot change past events, no matter how painful, but we can always choose how we feel about them and heal ourselves. 8. Your affirmation must not make comparisons. We talked about making affirmations personal. It is important to realize that you are not in competition with anyone. You and I are here to create, not to compete. Competition is a way to trying to prove yourself, to bolster your poor self-image. The only person you want to compete with is yourself. And even here, competition is not necessary. Our goal should always be to strive for excellence. If you attempt to compare yourself to someone you feel is above you, you will always feel less than someone else. If you compare yourself to those below you, you will feel a sense of false superiority and you'll live in fear of those people eventually catching up to you. Never affirm you are as good or better than anyone else's. If I say, I am the best salesperson in my company, perhaps the sales staff in my company might not be that great. It doesn't take much to be better than someone who is mediocre. You will always find somebody who is better than you are at something, and you will always find somebody who is not as good as you are at something. Either comparison is self-defeating. I am not concerned about what you do. I am concerned only about what I do. This doesn't mean I don't observe your performance. I can learn from your success. This is not comparison. All I am saying is that I like that particular quality or characteristic in you, and I think it would benefit me. In my work I observe other speakers and teachers. If I like the way they present their subject, their timing, or whatever, I program my subconscious to do the same. I program their successful teaching techniques into my consciousness. Another speaker or teacher listening to my presentation should be doing the same thing. Again, there is no need to compare. All we want to do is to create and strive for excellence. 9. Your affirmations must be believable. It is self-defeating to affirm something you cannot accept for yourself at a subconscious level. If you affirm something you cannot accept, you will place unrealistic demands on your performance reality. You have to be able to see it in the first person, present tense. If you can't see yourself doing that, living like that, looking like that or having that, then you won't. You must be able to see it experientially, first person, present tense. The idea is to create the experience in your mind without anxiety or stress, since stress and anxiety are counterproductive to high performance. The key here is balance. Don't affirm goals that are too easy, or else you will not be sufficiently motivated to work toward it. On the other hand, don't affirm goals that you can't imagine or accept, because you will be intimidated by the goal and won't get started. We said earlier that it is wise to break our goals down into realistic little pieces that, when accomplished, will make up the total goal. The believability factor is what makes this work. Your affirmation should be believable.